Hello, my name is Ayesha Salam, and I'm asking for help. I'm asking for help for three things. Number one, I have to pay the lawyer's fee. I have to pay a lawyer fee, which for now is $5,000. It is, it's, it's now there because I happen to be in a house where there was a small dispute over the house ownership. And I just happened to intervene. I just happened to be there and I happened to intervene. And some arrests were made and some charges were filed. And I've looked at the evidence submitted that looks quite exaggerated. Anyways, that's separate, right? I have to understand that when you're in an environment where you're not supposed to be and you have known it, and you're there because I was there because in the last few years, but I've had a life theme. I've had a life theme, despite what you see right now, because my camera makes me look like a normal person right now. I've had severe health challenges that have put me in a lot of mental distress, mental, physical, psychological. And currently, I'm having a flare-up of multiple sclerosis, the autoimmune disorder, the autoimmune pandemic in the US and UK. And I haven't had this sort of flare-up in close to a year. So I don't know. I'm sure the events have something to do with it. And it's a situation that makes it really hard for you to just be yourself. No, it's hard to sit, it's hard to stand, it's just hard to be. It's hard to be. That at that point you realize it's not a body you can live in. And then all you can think of is, what is it that I can do if I am to live? If I am to live, what is it that I can do to make this go away so I can function, so I can speak in a normal person's manner, so I can sit in a normal person's manner and not be completely occupied by what's happening in my body. No painkiller, nothing helps. It's not you just take a painkiller and now it went away. You just take some antibiotic, now your situation went away. No. This in the medical world has no cure, right? We know this with most autoimmune disorders, and the root causes are various. Some can be, your long-term medical pharmaceuticals history, and that probably led to some gut digestive disorders. I've had celiac. I've had to deal with celiac. See, I did not even know I had it till there was a blood work done. And that's what I realized. Yeah, I had. No wonder I couldn't really eat much. Severely. The food sensitivities were so severe that I had zero energy. The exhaustion was a completely different level of exhaustion. The aches in the body, whole another level. And obviously, these things are not there 24/7, but they come and go throughout the day. It's your day may start off a certain way. It may change throughout the day, and then throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year. All right. It all depends on the stacking up of your triggers, of your stressors. All right. And my body became extremely sensitive to many things, just environmental factors. And okay, so I'm looking for work these days. I had a decent career. In IT, and then I took some time to build skill sets, life skill sets. But where I went wrong was I went into isolation. This is supposed to be a shorter version of what I recorded 2 days ago. I'll put that up. That is the one I wanted to post, but I just wanted to give a little bit of like foreword before a book, a forward. This is that. So I need help. I'll cut it short. I was telling you about my multiple sclerosis symptoms, and this morning they're not tolerable. So I have to find a way to get them to subside, and that may take days, but I want to start that process now. And I am going to fast today. It has to begin with fasting, really minimizing any potential triggers, and then putting myself in the sun. And then there's a lot more. I've already recorded, talked about it. I haven't posted it yet. So I need money to pay my lawyer's fee. At this point, it is $5,000. There's first hearing coming up soon. But they keep saying, since they put me under a severe higher category of charge for no reason, cannot be proved, looked at the evidence, there's a whole lot of misunderstanding going on. There's a whole lot of how they read your body language. There's a lot of learning that came out of it. Because of what they do and the type of people that cops deal with every day on daily basis, day and night. So they're automatically wired, is now I have picked up on it. They're wired to notice the body language, who looks more aggressive, who looks more less aggressive, who is talking more and who is talking less, who's talking more, who is talking less, who's asking more questions, who's asking more questions. So their brains are wired to read the body language. What did the body do? The body jumped, or the body sat, the body stood up. So those are the learnings that came out of it. So it's not about this is right, this is wrong. Cops came, there was misunderstanding, they'd over exaggerated. No, this is about look what they do on daily basis and look how their brains may have been wired because of it. So they may not be listening to you and trying to connect the dots like some detective would, like some cold case, God forbid, files detective would. No, they're really just noticing your body language, talks more, talks less, stands up too much, aggressive, not listening, did not listen to me. In fact, asked counter question, bad, good. So brains are, that's what happens. And then if the supervisor comes in and they hear two people talking, oh, they're talking, still bad is happening. That needs to be shunned, snubbed. So it's at that point, it's never about what, why, who came in, but it turns into, it's just, so they simply read your body language, how much you're talking, in what tone. So a lot of lessons learned. And even before that, there was misunderstanding at home. Even the person who called didn't have the full picture. And there has been some dispute that didn't have to prolong this long. Okay, so I have to pay the lawyer fee, and it's urgent. And I need a vehicle. I need a vehicle that can get me from point A to point B. I have had robbery in the vehicle that I had. I had a robbery done. I had a robbery in that vehicle. I was carrying my belongings, moving from one point to another. And in that, I was tracked. I know it. I don't have to prove anything. And then one night, all stuff was gone. And even in 2020, 2 items were taken from my car from the front. So I know so I had to get rid of the car. I had to get rid of that vehicle, and I did. And where it went wrong, again, I learned from my experiences, and then I like to share them. So I sold it, and then I spent that money to pay something else off, thinking that was a priority. That was not a priority. Lack of knowledge. I learned from it. Okay, I need a vehicle. And when I have the vehicle, just something that could get me from point A to point B, I'll be able to quickly just get something for my mental health and for my mental sanity that can keep me in direct interaction with people. And that's when I don't have these reactive symptoms in my body. And as long as my legs are on the go and standing up and not tied to this small room that has always felt like a prison to me. And I've been in the prison of these illnesses too. I told you celiac, I've told you gut disorders, I've told you multiple sclerosis, thyroid cancer. I recently came out of a thyroid cancer diagnosis, all right? Thyroid cancer, not just thyroid cancer, but the severe goiter. One day, there was a little argument in the house that I shouldn't have never been in. And that argument one day, just one little shout, I told you my body has become very sensitive. There was a goiter that developed within days. I could not move my neck. I've already talked about this. I'm going to post that video, but I'm just trying to keep it short. Your body does not go back to normal once it has erupted. Just think about it. Anything that erupts and it goes back to normal, it's not the same. It has lost its structural integrity. It can be rebuilt, but it's not the same anymore. So there's a lot of management needed here. But that whole journey, that whole period, that almost put me in a deathbed. And I was ready because there was a blood supply loss to my head, and my MRI showed. And it was that's when I believe, even if I had MS symptoms in the past, they got a little more worse. They got a little bit more worse because there is a progression here. With all these things are a progression. It's like a slippery slope. All right. So you can slow it down with strong disciplined strength. You have to build strength to slow down that slide. All right. Build strength. And without it, you can't. You can hit anything. All right. So I have all these learnings, but I've been documenting for sharing purposes. So number one, I need to pay the lawyer fee. Number two, I need to get a vehicle to go from point A to point B. My last one I had to sell for robbery because robbery had happened. Number three, I would restart my anti-cancer, anti-autoimmune disorder, anti-thyroiditis, or any sort of itis. You know how itis even develops? Yes, food is a big factor. Yes, pesticides are a big factor. Yes, long-term pharmaceuticals are a big factor. There's more to it, especially when it comes to women, right? This is not about that. It's not about that. That would take another 2 days for me to explain. And I already have that documented, ready to shoot. So I need to pay the lawyer fee, and I need to get a vehicle. Right now, I'm going to be fasting because I am suffering from MS symptoms, flare-ups, and it's not easy. It's not a body you want to be in. You don't want to be in it. You don't want to be. You don't want to be. So if you live a lifestyle where you can just go and be anywhere with anybody and just, it's good. So you must never be without a mode of income. And if you have to take a small break for something, you still have to be tied to something, somebody, something, some organization, some affiliation, some volunteer work that can keep you head to head joined with something that helps you grow, something that gives you feedback. If your life if you're missing feedback in your life, direct feedback, constructive, positive, useful. I'm not going to say positive, constructive and useful. Negative, positive doesn't matter. You're stagnating, and something else, something bad is piling up. It's the law of the universe. When your affiliation with the good, positive, constructive, building something, the bridge, but the bridge is missing. That bridge is missing. Something else is piling up. The piles of dirt may start piling up. So, 3 things again. I need money for the lawyer. I need to get a vehicle quickly that can help me get from point A to point B, and then I can find myself a quick accommodation and then start working. Even if I have to work day, night, doesn't matter to me. I like working. I like it. I like work. But it's so, to me, that's not the problem. For me, also having a life that makes you feel like your life is worth living is more important. Doesn't matter what you do. But then also having something, some people have children, and that gives them suddenly that, I have a reason to live, and what I do matters. Even if I just go and do repetitive things every day, even if I go and do things I don't even like. I don't like my boss. I don't like the kind of work I do. It's stressful. It really It really is. And sometimes it's humiliating because of who I deal with, but I do it because I have my children I'm taking care of, or I have this association with something, some anti-cancer, anti-evil, mental health challenges. All right, mental health. You may think I need mental health therapy myself. That's fine. That's fine. And you may think I need psychiatric help myself. That's fine. That's okay. But what I now know is, well, these, or any place for that matter, you go to a mosque, you go to a church, you go to a doctor's office, you go to a lawyer's office, they all have their own limitations. Your body will teach you, yes, I got 60% from there. There's still 40% that I have to deal with. And I have to bring that in my life. And that 40% depends on who I am, what my life needs are, where I'm lacking, where I went wrong, so we have to use the 80-20 rule for that 40%. 60% came, let's just say, from a doctor, from a health specialist, from a psychiatrist, from a religious organization, spiritual organization. The rest of the 40%, you will figure out, your body will teach you, but you have to start paying attention. You have to start paying attention to your own needs, to your own genetic makeup, to your own environmental needs, social needs, to your own body needs, food needs. And what is it that gets in the way? Okay, when they say, oh, you don't have discipline, you don't have discipline, you don't have this, or you don't have that. That means setting up systems in place. Okay, why don't you have systems in place? You don't have them because something is missing. So I need a vehicle that can get me from this away, outside of this accommodation, because this accommodation has brought a lot of nonstop stressors, body illnesses in my life, robberies, illnesses. I'm not saying this place is bad. I'm saying it was just not okay for me, because I always felt like I was in a prison and I was never supposed to be here. I was supposed to be helping out. So please help me. I have a good cause. I already have plenty documented that is ready to go, get out the door. All right, ready to be released out the gates. But I need a vehicle. And when it comes to safety, how do you save yourself from, for example, data breach, from hacking, from illnesses, flare-ups? That's all my own self-management. But it comes with knowledge. And that knowledge has to be attained. It doesn't come on its own. You have to get out there, attain, get it, apply it, and then start also sharing it. Because I've always been, I want to go just and help out in cancer communities, not because I just want to tell them, hey, I have more vegetables, not this. No, it's not about that. I told you, there's a different approach to it. It is a good message to say have more vegetables, yes. But there's more to it, right? There's a lot more to it. And that is coming from a lot of education that I had to do as I was suffering from the thyroid cancer, as I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't swallow my own spit, couldn't eat. I was just relying on pills, just a few pills that I was eating every day, fevers every day, extreme aches every day. I couldn't move my neck past a certain point, couldn't move my neck. I was swelling up. And I didn't know how bad it was going to get. And I was sent to a surgeon's office, and I did not want to get surgery because they say, God forbid, if it has spread into your lymph nodes, if cancer has spread into your lymph nodes, then you have to keep going back to get those lymph nodes removed. And those lymph nodes are there to really clean out the gunk in your body. Once they're gone, they're gone. They don't regrow. And you're also left with scarring. All right, scarring could be here. Scarring could go here, God forbid, because it happens. There are a lot of cases out there. All right. So there were many concerns. I have it all documented. Please help me pay my lawyer's fee. Please help me get a cheap vehicle that can get me from point A to point B. And please help me, and I'll take care of the rest. I think the rest will just will just start to show up, because I'll have the vehicle. And the third one would be that I would restart my anti-cancer. When I say restart, men, this was beginning to subside, I started going to shelters. I started going to shelters to give them kiwis and strawberries. Why? Why did I choose those two? I'll tell you why. Kiwi has the highest amount of vitamin C. Your body needs high amounts of vitamin C in that phase. And even probably now too. But not just that, there's a lot more. So kiwi, and plus kiwi is covered, and it can last for a few days, and it tastes good. There's nobody who wouldn't like it. And then strawberries, why? There's something different about the strawberries. Yes, all berries are great. You should have different kinds of berries, but why strawberry? First of all, it's big, easy to grab and eat. So I thought of people in shelters, that they can just grab it and eat. It's so good for this track right here. People in stress can start to have, they may not have full symptoms, GERD developing. Their body isn't taking in. Body wants to reject. And they're very high in many things, antioxidants, and they're anti-cancerous. Many things about strawberries. But I picked those two because they were appropriate for shelters. And then next I thought about, by observation, what is it that they really need? So those two to help them with stress. Fiber. Thought of giving them real fiber they could just mix in the water and drink. And then books. I saw a lot of people just sitting there, just sitting outside. And I don't blame them. I'm not saying there's something wrong, but why not put something there that they can grab and start reading? And maybe make that a part of their daily routine. You have to read. As you stay here, please take 20 minutes, 30 minutes to read. Educate yourself on spirituality. Here's a book. Educate yourself on mind, thoughts you're carrying. Start creating through your mind. Start inviting guidance, the unseen guidance in your mind. Start creating through your mind. As a man thinketh. The Greatest Salesman in the World is another book. Books on finance. Think and Grow Rich is a life book. Think and Grow Rich is not just investments. All right. Because for you to begin investments, you have to have a little bit of stability in life, a little bit of ground under your feet, and then you can begin. But so shelters, I said, for anti-cancer, I thought of shelter first. And then I thought of people who just openly eat, they're foodies. And they eat a lot of today's meat that's processed in some way. Animals have had poor diet, grilled. And we have just foodies because food has become the center of our life. Because some people have more voids in their life than others. So food becomes a bigger component in their life. Food is the hug. Food is the love. Food is the calm. Food is a good night's sleep. Food is the cure. That. And then there is complete lack of awareness. So there's many things. There's many things. I can go on and on. I wanted to keep this short, but I want to say this. I have really good intention. But right now I have symptoms that you may think I seem to be all right. I seem to look all right. Ask anybody who has MS symptoms. I have MRI results from late last year. And they showed. So when I went through that eruption, lava that almost killed me, I was able to reverse that without any medical intervention. And that's why I know what I have is valuable. I didn't just, anyway. I've said all of this in the video that I recorded 2 days ago. 2 days ago, what I recorded. That's why that is the reason I wanted to record this. 2 days ago, what I recorded and what I actually wanted to post as my fundraiser request. I wanted to say this because I thought of how people read body language and tone, and they're not watching, they're not listening. They look at your hair, they look at your, what you're wearing, they look at your look aggressive, doesn't look sad enough, doesn't look humble and, grounded enough, and doesn't look crying and, it's saying too much. People can start building inference off of that. Right. So I thought of that because I swear, even that evening, I was having a lot of symptoms. It was all my body. My body had pushed me to just grab this laptop, turn the camera on, start speaking. It was on my body. It was on my body. So that said, where I have lived, there has been a lot of negative influence. There has been a lot of racism. I'm not going to take it there. It's part of the planet. All of that is part of the planet. Somebody comes and expresses their hatred. It's how the life is designed. Doesn't mean we don't speak against it, or we don't express our side of it, or we don't up the positive so the negative can subside. Negative will always be there in somewhere because it's a different body. It's a different body coming from a different background, coming from a different health state, mental state, toxicity. The level of toxicity is different in that body. All right. The level of toxicity is different in that body. So it's a different body. It can develop hatred. It can develop prejudices. It can develop inclination towards certain things. It's a body. It's a chemical reaction changing you every day. So our job is to up the positive in ourselves and outside. And even if you're expressing something that sounds negative, that it's done in a way that does the job. The whole point of recording this, prior to recording the video that I recorded 2 days ago for fundraiser, is to say, don't just read my body language. Don't just read, she said this a certain way, she looks like this, her hair is this. Don't get caught up in temporary exteriors, temporary tones. You don't know. If you haven't been in a body that has had, so autoimmune disorders, there are over 100. They can have overlapping symptoms, but they can also be different. The interesting thing is, when I went through that almost killed me late last year, it almost killed me. I'm telling you, I think those things, if you're a believer in unseen forces around us, I became a stronger believer. As I wrote about this problem, within a couple of hours, Amitabh Bachchan, one of the most famous Indian actors, Amitabh Bachchan, Aishwarya Rai's father-in-law. I'm writing about police report. I'm writing about lawyer. His face came and sat in my head. That the phenomena that something comes and takes a seat in my head, began happening literally just 2-3 years ago. I never noticed it. And I never really cared much for it until 2-3 years ago. So I'm not going to go in detail because it's a separate topic. I quickly looked him up, and I looked up his illness because I knew there's something about him that him and I probably have something in common, that now the universe has brought his face and made him sit in my head. And I looked up his illness. He also has an autoimmune disorder that he has been dealing with since 1984. And him and I have similarities in the organs that are affected. But there are variations. There are different levels. There are different varying degrees of flare-ups. And with time, you do get stronger flare-ups. If you don't really make all efforts possible to slow down that slope. All right. For that, you have to build strength. For that, you have to have a certain system in place. You have to have the right tools. So please help me. With the right tools. Help me get a vehicle that can get me from point A to point B. Help me pay the lawyer's fee so I can sort this out. And I wasn't even supposed to be in it. I was just trying to protect somebody in the family. The whole intent of my even speaking in front of police officers was trying to protect somebody. I was trying to protect somebody who is quite misunderstood. And to restart my anti-cancer education mission, to restart my education that comes from personal experience, that comes from all the knowledge that I've collected as a result of that, because I couldn't have thought of everything. Obviously, it took a lot of digging, reading, and interestingly, some of it came from the audiobooks that I listened to a year prior. It's a very interesting story. Please help me pay. It will come back to you tenfold. It will come back to you tenfold. It is coming back to you tenfold. So the lawyer fee says $5,000 right now. And I'm really hoping it's not going to go to court, circuit court. I don't think it will. It will have to. There's no way. I mean, pigs will have to fly for anybody to prove the charges. It's that empty. That if it went there, that it would be, God forbid, $25K. And that's a flat rate, excluding some other additional charges. So anyway, what I'm saying is, you want to be careful. I have plenty of learnings that I want to share. I have this saving nature. Even if I'm going through something, I document. Why? Because that's going to be the asset I'm going to leave behind. And that is going to be asset that I'll be building upon. Everybody has different reasons. That is my reason to even exist. All right. Otherwise, I have no reason to exist. Please help me. Please help me. And I'm positive. If I can get my body to be normal, sort of normal, but I am not fully drowning in my symptoms and occupied in my symptoms, and no pill can help, then, I mean, supplementation can help, but no medical pill can help, can make this go away, and also reverse it. Because I'm a prevention lady. I believe in prevention. I believe in reconstruction. I believe in repair. I believe in building strength in the body. But here's where I've been wrong. You wanna take action before it's too late. Then after that, even if you try to reverse something, whether it's in your speech may have gotten really angry, frustrated. Your body symptoms may have put you in situation that probably are misconstrued, misunderstood. I'm getting really hungry speaking because I thought I would fast, but I have these eruptions of appetite that pop off. Eruptions of appetite, especially since my thyroid problem. And I'm not on any medication for thyroid. They told me you're having severe ups and downs, highs, lows, highs, lows, highs, lows. We can't put you on any medication. And I later learned from a book, that it's common after thyroiditis. You hit highs, lows, highs, lows, highs, lows. And sometimes people think you are mental, but it's really your body. It's your thyroid. And then thyroid is tied to your liver, kidneys. And then that is tied to digestion, everything. It's just a whole, it's a loop, then another loop, then another loop. That's what happens. You're in nested loop. So you want to stop that nested loop. All right. So that's why please help me pay, and please help me collect money for my vehicle, and I'll just buy something that can get me where I need to go to live, to buy myself foods, because I can only have certain types of foods. Celiac taught me that. Celiac was not easy to manage. I hope you read my intent. I hope you learned something from my request. I hope you also learned something from it. Something about the body language, something about how we read other people, something about what we do on daily basis, day and night, may have trained our brain to read people a certain way. And how, when you react, where we need to focus, what we need to be cognizant of. So I'm looking for work. I'm also looking for work. It hasn't worked out for me yet. I have not really heard back from people that I was expecting to hear back from. And that is why I think my frustrations are tenfold. I need to be able to feed myself only specific types of food for my MS and for my thyroid, because I'm highly inflammation prone. My thyroidist taught me that. I almost died. I went up to 190. At 90, there was a very famous journalist. He was hospitalized. Nobody told me. I didn't know myself. I learned that from an audiobook. Okay. You will find more information in the video that I recorded before this. Sometimes I speak more because I want to deliver more. I don't want to tell you my problems. I also want to leave a message, leave a lesson, because life is unpredictable. All right? Your goal is to bring stability, predictability, but it is unpredictable, right? So please help me. I really hope that through this, I can find others like me, or those who are going to need me, who need me now, who are going to need me. Through this, I'm expecting that, right? Please help. Hello, my name is Ayesha Salam, and today is August 23rd, 2023. I just came back from a lawyer's office. He's a criminal defense lawyer. I had to go see him because non-stop waste has come into my life since I moved back to South Riding, Virginia. Non-stop, in the form of illness, many illnesses, not one. In the form of people, robbery, theft, crime, data breach, mobile phone hacking, robbery. Close to $4,000 worth of stuff was stolen from my vehicle. I had to sell my vehicle. I made a huge mistake of not making a conscious, fully thought through choice of, first figuring out where I should go when I left my last job. And I ended up coming back here to go see my local doctors, and I thought I would do a certification. Anyway, that point till today, it's like I had signs: leave, exit. This is not a fit for you. This does not provide what you need. Being a single woman, it does not provide you what you need. And I did not make a full exit outside of these environments to a place that fulfilled my needs. When you're a single woman and you come from a certain background and you live a life with certain values, you live a life of values and you have a certain set of values that you were conditioned to adopt and you try to stick by. Anyway, so what I'm saying is, I came back from a lawyer and I don't have a way to pay his fees. I was diagnosed with many illnesses starting late 2020. So I've had severe autoimmune problems. I've had, what they call so let me talk about these days. All right, these days. Let me start from the latest. So if you've not heard of multiple sclerosis, I don't know, maybe you've lived under a rock, because autoimmune problems in the US are so common. It's like talking about French fries. And what people don't know is that the flare-ups can be really aggressive, and they can take your peace away, put aches in you and exhaustion in you. No, you don't know. You don't know what this is. There are different varying degrees of it. There are varying degrees of flare-ups, frequency. I've been able to make them go away. I'm not just sitting here and burning. No. I've been able to make all of that go away because I can develop the discipline in myself. Discipline. I'm a disciplined lady. when it comes to fixing, curing a body state. I don't look for temporary cures. Like a lot of doctors, how they push sometimes weed for people with autoimmune problems and pills that don't really take you anywhere. Bullshit. My thyroid erupted last year. My thyroid erupted. It literally erupted out of my neck. I couldn't eat. I couldn't swallow my own spit for many days. I almost died. My inflammatory levels went close to 90. They're supposed to be under 25. And nobody even knew. No doctor could help. I had to find my own way to minimize my symptoms. I could have been dead. They just sent me to a surgeon. Go see a surgeon, get it all chopped out of your body. That may not. So it was erupted out, but then it also, I was given a diagnosis of thyroid cancer. I did not want to get it operated. This is saying I lived under a rock, not understanding mind-body needs, not really know. I did not know that I had to educate myself on my own body, on how the body functions, my own food sensitivities, my own mental and social needs, and how I had to make sure that I lived a life that had something worthwhile, not just a job and then nothingness. So there was a feud in this house that I did not have to be in one day. I did not have to be in one day. Never. Maybe I never had to be in it. I made a huge mistake of putting myself here. And there was a feud past 2 a.m., mid-July. I intervened to try and protect somebody. I looked out for somebody who's quite misunderstood and has been quite frustrated. And out of frustration, sometimes you say things. And some people can just misconstrue all that, just get caught up in one word. Out of 100, they'll get caught up in one word, not really truly get to the real problem. So anyway, this emotionally distant and waste that I've lived around, that I couldn't build myself around. Because first of all, look where they live. Look how they live, their lifestyle, these symptoms. And then there was robbery outside. There was stupid trying to harass me after my Facebook post. There was data breach on my laptop. Anyway, so I have been looking for work, but what I did not realize that if you have tried to do different things, and let's just say I had a steady career experience, and then I did different things after that, right? And they were not always relevant to what I did earlier. So that can cause disruption on your resume for some people. It can still work for other industries. I still have pretty valuable assets that I've developed. Skill sets. I'm much more evolved. I'm much more learned. I have to pay the lawyer fee. Lawyer fee, if this does not go to Supreme Court. By the way, the cops just made all of it up. We have met 2 lawyers and they both said the same thing. Sounds like one of them was really pissed off and they ended up putting all these charges on you guys. 2 lawyers said the same thing because that's what happened. If you don't know how to, once they have been called, even if it was totally uncalled for, nobody had to call them. Once they were called and they entered your premise, then they become gods. They are gods. Law, forget law. They are gods. Whether they fully understand law or not, they are gods at that point. It doesn't matter what you were going through, who is well, who isn't well. No, it does not matter. None of their business. If we told you to sit down in a chair and you got up, you're a felon. You must die. Go see lawyers, go die in a jail. That's what happens. So I've been traumatized by a skin specialist here who never asked me once if I had ever been to an allergist, a nutritionist, what I ate, what my lifestyle was like, what I ate, basically. I was put under a lot of medications my whole life. This is US. This is the whole country. This whole world is like that. But people who have lived under a rock like me, I wish I did for many years. And I fully understand that. And I fully acknowledge it. And I'm open about it because it has harmed me. It has taken from me. I became an easy target, victim that they can just, let's not use the word victim. It's a weak word. It's a weak word. You have become something that they can keep squeezing. So I developed severe illnesses last year that almost killed me. I had no guidance from doctors. I had to find as I was dying, suffering from fever, extreme exhaustion, unable to eat, dry, everything was just dry. My thyroid died, erupted out of my neck. I couldn't swallow. I couldn't move. I couldn't move my neck. Couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat for days. I just ate pills. The vitamin C, turmeric. And then I discovered more. I was nutritionally deficient in many things. And nobody asked me. I had to find out. Research on my own. An audiobook that I had listened to the prior year saved me. Because it put ideas in me. No doctor did. No medical doctor did. All they do is just preliminary testing and send you off to some surgeon. The funny thing is, I was sent to the wrong type of specialist. And then they said, oh no, you're not supposed to come here. You're supposed to go somewhere else. Go get chopped out. Go ahead, lose your organ. That will fix your life. Lose your organ, fix your life. I saved my organ. Something came from above, put ideas in me. I saved my organ. Now I can help save other people's organs. There are things that are discovered that I would not have discovered through any book, there are things I discovered first. And then I looked it up and then I found something behind it. Oh yeah, okay, well, there's published research. All right, so right now I get flare-ups of multiple sclerosis. I suffered in the prison of celiac for many years, and there are different varying degrees of celiac. Only 1% people have it, and some people, you see some celiacs eating gluten-free pizza. I didn't do that for 5 years. I couldn't touch anything. Everything in my body phase changed, and I had gone vegan, try to clean myself, rebuild myself. I did fasting. So that eruption happened last year, and then I was told I had this goiter developing within days. Things were getting bigger. Couldn't swallow, couldn't eat. I died. I wrote my will one night. So there was a robbery. I had to also lose that car that was tracked so many times. And now where I went wrong was I was supposed to sell that. I should have gotten another vehicle. But I didn't do that. I paid something else off. So I'm not able to find work fast enough after I did what I did a while ago, steady career, and then I tried different things as I upgraded those certifications that I did many years ago. So even if I've lowered my expectations, it hasn't happened yet fast enough. There are ways to make your life useful. And I know what that is, but I have a hard time sitting in this same prison-like home. You don't know. You have no idea. The same environment can be a prison for one and normal for somebody else. It depends on your body state. It depends what has already happened. It depends on their life needs. It depends on the stage of their life. When I was working, I was always on my own. So I made a mistake of not continuing that. So even if I wanted to try different things, I should have continued working and then tried other things on the side. I had made that mistake. I fully admit it. I got the attention of robbers. I used to sit outside as I studied and went to the gym and worked out and took walks outside in nature. I carried stuff in my car, got stolen, all of it. So I have to pay the lawyer fee. I have to pay the lawyer fee because I've been falsely charged with felony. No, excuse me. Do you understand what a felony is? Do you understand? If you read the statute, it doesn't even apply to me. I told you, guards came in. When the cops were called, once they entered your house, they are guards. People who are given that title, it's not a person. You have to turn into a robot. As soon as they arrive, turn into a robot. Don't ask anything. Don't say anything. Don't tell them this is a family matter. This is my brother. He's not well. Don't say anything. Just become a robot. Go sit in a corner. Get your handcuffed. Quietly. Become a robot. They're gods. Gods are right there. In front of gods, you become a robot. Doesn't matter what you were going through. Doesn't matter. It's not about you. And then get taken to the jail. Get tricked into taken to jail. Get tricked. Let me tell you, get tricked. First, go stand outside barefoot. Just go stand outside. All right. And then in that walk, maybe somehow you ended up, as you're handcuffed, somehow your elbow touched the guard. Elbow touched the guard cop. Guard cop's body somehow felt my elbow. And now I'm a felon. Then I was taken to jail where magistrate refused to interview me. Magistrate refused to interview me because I asked a question. Why wasn't I told I was being brought to jail? I could have put my shoes on. Nothing is convicted because it can, even if it's so bogus. This is not even the worst part of my life. No. I think the worst already happened many years ago. Many years ago. It already happened. It had been happening in chunks. In chunks, it had been happening. I can teach you a lot about that, God's experience. So once God arrived, we should have turned into robots. We did not. So now, and then somehow when you're handcuffed, my elbow somehow touched God. Touched God. I don't know when. I have no recollection. I would have no intent to touch God cop. I have no intent to touch cop. Why would I even think about touching God cop? What would that do for me? What could that possibly do for me? There were some reflexes probably by everybody because we're not used to having God cops past 2 a.m. with handcuffs, not asking us any questions, but just shoving us in our chairs and telling us to quiet down. What we didn't know, all of us, you're supposed to turn into robots. We did not turn into robots. And I did not keep my elbow close to my body. I did not keep my handcuffed elbow close to my body. Now I'm a felon because my elbow somehow touched God cop. God cop. So now I need money to pay the lawyer's fees while I look for work and deal with multiple sclerosis. Flare up. And then I get told, oh, you need to go see a mental asylum. This woman needs some pagal khana. No, I needed to have exited. I needed to have made full exit and never lived with anybody. When you have a body that's sensitive to situations that I've mentioned, don't live with anybody. Don't live with tight frustrations, closed frustrations that have no life. Anyway, so I have to pay the lawyer fee and I'd like money donated. I promise to share part of it with needy, but I have to define what that is. So when I got cancer, despite what they said, because there's a lot of unpredictability, because my symptoms were so worse than you'll see online. Then what you'll see online, the symptoms were so bad because I had 3 states going on at the same time, 3 problems, not just one. That's what, and when I learned what this is, what just being in stress and some sort of, I wasn't in fear, but what stress induced problems and limitations and frustrations can do to your body, while at the same time you're undernourished and don't know it, then, and you live a life that doesn't involve random strangers, that does not involve random strangers. Oh, I can just go to sit somewhere, you know, and just feel happy and then come back happy. Point is, I started giving organic strawberries and organic kiwis to shelters. You know, shelters? I realized that those people, first of all, are there in shelters temporarily in the US. It's a temporary shelter. They have a timeline, they have a deadline. Hey, you have to be out by a certain time. And you're only here temporarily. And you're supposed to get out during the day and go look for work. And so I started giving, so I came up with this, you know, anti-cancer sort of anti-cancer, call it mission, call it whatever you want, that I just wanted to, if I could just help somebody's body develop better immunity against handling, against stress, help their immune system, help their digestive system. So if you can just do that. Second, what I was planning on doing was providing books that can help them get educated on finances, get educated on language, inspirational stories, life-building books, human behavior, changing a habit, creating a habit. Next, I thought of that why don't they have an abundance of it? And why don't they make them read those books every day? Anyway, so the point is, I have good intent. I have good intent. I don't owe anybody any explanation. Life is already too short. Life is going to end for everybody. Every single person on the planet that exists today is going to be replaced. And then that they will be replaced. And then they will be replaced. So while we live with MS or live with cancer or we live with this, we must learn our lessons and start sharing those lessons. Because sometimes it may not come from a book. Sometimes people don't know the starting point. And sometimes different bodies have different needs, different varying needs. What may work for me, but maybe a starting point for me may not be a starting point for somebody else. Their starting point may be different. So I need money. I need money while I aggressively look for work. I'm working on it. But that's not the only thing I have to do. There are other routes I have to try. So I need money to pay the lawyer fee. For now, if it doesn't go to Supreme Court, it is $5,000. And I'm really hoping it's so bogus. God cop probably hasn't really read the law and statutes, because in our scenario, they didn't really apply. I don't think they were considering the context we were in. The context. People forget the context. And we have not been around guard cops so up close in the middle of the night with so many handcuffs. And so many in tight space. Another thing, so many in tight space. All right? So many in tight space. And then my elbow probably had a brain of its own. I don't know when it touched what. I would not want to touch anything. I don't want to touch anything. I don't want to touch this wall. Why would I touch a guard cop? You don't touch guard cops. Somehow a guard cop felt my elbow. All right. So now they put felony class 6, which is pretty high. Obviously, it confirmed, just like 2-3 lawyers said, sounds like somebody got really agitated. Somebody got really pissed off. And that's when they just punched these in. I said, yes, your read is right. So help me pay my lawyer fee. And I did not raise any money when I was dying with cancer. Real God came from up there. And he arranged an insurance for me. And that insurance at least paid for the testing, not the cure, just the testing. Test this, test, blood test, image, MRI, scan, blood. It paid for that. So I'm thankful for it. But everything else outside of it, the solution, the cure, the assistance with my symptoms, because I could have died. I was dying every day, unable to eat, fever, losing my collagen, losing everything and dying of pain. If I told you, I don't think it's like having severe electricity damage in my body. They told me during my MRI, as I received my MRI results, they told me that my had ischemia. So that's when my primary care walked into the office after looking at my MRI results. She goes, you had blood supply lost to your head. You had blood supply lost to your head. I said, I believe, because there was one night when I thought it's ending. It was ending. I wrote my will. And I messaged one family member. But I've called 911 after that. I've called, not that night, but I've called 911. There was another day when I just couldn't tolerate the pain I was in here. And I thought somebody had done something to me. It couldn't just have happened to me. Somebody had clearly done something to me, and I wanted to report it for tracking, for, leaving a trail. And I called 911 and I met them outside. God cops. God cops know one thing. Either you go to jail or you go to a mental health specialist. That's it. There's nothing else. Or they'll hand you some piece of paper with some other penalty. Doctors act like gods, as if they know your body, as if there's only one type of body in the whole world. You need to know your body. You need to educate yourself. Life must begin with getting educated on your food needs, your genetic makeup, your social needs, your life needs. You start there. You don't take any signs lightly. Okay, so I need a way to pay the lawyer fee, but I also need some money to buy a cheap secondhand car that can get me from point A to point B, point A to point B, point A to point B. I'll be out. Working day, working night. I don't run away from that. I love that. Being useful. Restarting my anti-cancer mission. And it's not just, let's just wear a pink ribbon and let's just go take a walk. Let's just collect some money. It can only help so much. I believe in prevention. So there are things that I've learned only as I went through this that I don't think I'd ever even heard before. So I never even heard those before. It is not even that. This is urgency. I did not ask for money, although I know people, I know blogs, I know stories where women raised 30, 40K when they were diagnosed with thyroid cancer because they wanted to take the natural route of fixing themselves. And those therapies are not cheap. They cost money. I need help. And if you help, I don't have to make promises, but I can tell you should be able to trust me. And if you don't want to trust me, that's fine. Because I know in my intent, I'm clear. My intent is clear. And my intent is that everybody leaves assets behind, right? Everybody likes to build assets and leave assets behind, walls behind, and some things behind. My asset would be sharing of learnings that actually can help. I've already written so much, not shared, but written. And that also began just 3 years ago. Anyway, so help me pay the lawyer fee and help me get a cheap car that can get me from point A to point B so I can become a useful participant here on this planet while I live. And then I just need help with a little bit. And then from there, I'll be okay. I made plenty of progress in my last few years. But in terms of the kind of jobs that I've been applying for, they look for a certain something on the resume. And I know what that is. Help me pay the lawyer fee. And I'm going to end this video. This is not just me sitting here expressing my frustration, angry. No, you must understand that my intent, it doesn't matter what I say, is always stemming from wanting to save something. And if I've said things, that is because I feel like somebody has really wronged me. Somebody has really wronged me. And I have no way to nurture. I have no way to get emotional support. I can't just go to a psychiatrist and therapist and who just sit there while I sit in the same little prison. To just sit there and recommend some fancy terms. No. An exit is the only way. Help me make that happen, please. I ask for assistance where I have been very transparent. I'm not afraid of any employer, oh, what would my future employers think? No, I have a better mission in my mind. I have a better mission than some IT company sitting there in some corner judging me. Let me pay my lawyer fee. 5K is minimum for them. Oh, 5K if it doesn't go to Supreme Court. If it goes, then it's 3 times more. All right, so somehow my elbow touched God cop and I was put under charges. And somehow, as I was handcuffed, I stood up and stood down in my chair 2-3 times. That must be some sort of intentional obstruction to some non-existent investigation. There was no investigation. In fact, what I was saying was never being heard. And that's why I stood up. But not being heard. You're not listening to me. You're not acknowledging what I'm saying. Okay, so I'm going to go. Help me pay my lawyer fee. My name is Ayesha Salam. I've lived in South Riding, Virginia. And I'm looking for help. But not just help for myself. Help that can enable me to restart my anti-cancer, anti-autoimmune, anti-thyroid disorder, anti-thyroiditis, anti-goiter, anti-evil mission, anti-cancer help. All right? Anti-cancer help. That's better. All right. Help me. Thank you.